Hello and welcome to today's lesson on angle properties of intersecting and perpendicular lines. Please make sure you are filling out your template as you watch this exciting lesson. Here we have two words that we're going to review. One is a term called intersecting lines. That's when two lines cross each other or intersect. You can see in this example, we have two obtuse angles that are greater than 90, I'll label with an O. And we have two acute angles, and I will label those with an A. And acute means less than 90. Then the second term is perpendicular lines. Those are lines that intersect at right angles. I'm only going to label one of them, but they're all for right angles or 90 degrees. So we can see in this example, we have 4 90-degree angles because those lines intersect at a right angle. Now, resuming with our discussion of intersecting lines, you can see in the top left corner here we have two lines that have intersected, and now we have an angle relationship called opposite angles. That happens when we have a pair of angles that are formed when there are two intersecting lines, and the opposite angles, or the angles across from each other, are equal. So in our example in the top left corner, we have angle A equaling angle B because they are opposites. They are across from each other or opposite. So they would have the same value. Likewise, angle C would equal angle D. Now I'd like you to try to use that principle, angle relationship principle, and determine the value of X and Y. Hopefully you've had a chance to do that, and you can see here that X is opposite of 100 degrees, so that gives it a value of 100. And also we know that Y is opposite of 80 degrees, so that must make that value 80 degrees. Our next term is called supplementary angles, and that occurs when two angles add together to get 180 degrees. I'm sure you've recalled in the past that a straight line equals 180 degrees. That's what we have at the bottom of our diagram here, a straight line. And it is met with another line that has come across there, and we know that that's formed two angles. We have angle A and angle B. Now, supplementary angles means that A plus B, if we add those two angles together, whatever they might be, we have to get a sum of 180 degrees. And that can help us as we go back and we see, and we see that on the bottom we know one of our angles. One of those angles is 50 degrees. I'd like you to use the strategy of supplementary angles and attempt to find that missing angle. I will give you a moment to do that, and then we'll solve it together. So we are going to now try to solve this. We have not labeled our missing angle, but let's label it X, shall we? And we know that X plus 50 equals 180 degrees. That's what supplementary angles are. We have a 180 degree line at the bottom. We know one of the missing angles is 50. So we know that the sum of those two angles, again, supplementary angles, will equal 180 degrees. We know one of the angle measurements is 50 degrees. If we subtract it, that's going to give us our missing angle. So we subtract 50 from 180, and that tells us that our missing angle must be 130 degrees. We can check our answer by adding those two 130 and 50, and we get 180, so we have our supplementary angles. Complementary angles are our next two, and that's Mr. Stone in the background coughing at my accent, but we're going to ignore him and move on. Complementary angles are formed when we have two angles that add together to get 90 degrees. You can see I've drawn two perpendicular lines, which means they form 90 degrees. Now if I bisect that angle and insert a value for one of those angles, we'll make this top angle here 40 degrees. We know that the sum of these two angles, 40 degrees and angle A, must equal a total of 90 degrees. So when we did the same strategy with supplementary angles, we knew that our total was 90 degrees. We know one of our angles is 40. If we subtract that, that's going to give us our missing angle. So when we subtract that, we get 50 degrees. Again, we can check our answer and see if our sum equals 90. And it does, so we are correct. So hopefully this lesson has helped you with some angle properties of intersecting and perpendicular lines. Thank you for your attention.